Jake Paul career officially over after this? Jake Paul is one of YouTube's biggest influencers and is known for his crazy numbers. His career, though, seems to be in jeopardy after his actions following the tragic death of George Floyd at the hands of Minneapolis police. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and check out the link in the description to enter a chance at winning our Apple product giveaway. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell to ensure you never miss another video. George Floyd's murder has left civilians at unrest, taking to the streets to demand change and police reform. Nonetheless, the reaction from the United States has been heard across the world, with many celebrities also butting in to give their 2 cents. Recently, Jake Paul did the same, but not in your typical fashion. The young YouTube star is one of the biggest and most controversial. This is not the first time he has run into controversy in his career either, as he is known for being canceled multiple times. Nonetheless, looting has been a real issue throughout the entire United States as reactions from the protests. The looters have not only given protests a bad image, but many know the truth. They do not represent the peaceful ride for justice. Jake Paul was arrested and now is facing some serious consequences outside of the YouTube space. Thanks for tuning in today at Lime Report, where we will be covering Jake Paul's career officially over after this. Make sure you watch until the end to reassure that you do not miss a single detail. Jake Paul is in some serious trouble, and this could be the last straw. Do you think that the YouTuber will be seriously punished for his actions during the protests? Let us know what you think in the comment section below. During the violent protests that raged across America following the murder of George Floyd at the hands of Minneapolis police, the Fashion Square Mall in Scottsdale, Arizona, was one of the countless shopping areas that fell victim to vandalism and looting. The Fashion Square in Scottsdale is a very high-end shopping center with all kinds of luxury stores within the compound. What made the scene in Arizona different, however, was that the footage caught on screen wasn't just captured by news crews, but also by infamous YouTuber Jake Paul. Footage of Paul among the scenes of protests of looting was shared in a series of Instagram posts by Paul's videographer, Andrew Blue. Although the posts have since been deleted, they showed Paul walking through the mall as protesters began to act destructively. Paul's own social media posts include videos of police officers who Paul repeatedly refers to in explicit and confrontational language. Typically, all these actions in the videos led to yet another controversial headline with the YouTube icon's name in it. Continue watching because things can begin to look ugly for Jake Paul in court as well. In videos posted to Instagram, Mr. Paul can be seen walking through the mall as looters smash the glass of a Sephora and Swarovski store and bashing car windows around him. One clip appears to show Jake Paul handling a stolen bottle of vodka. He was seen wearing a mask in cell phone footage of the looting as people fled with merchandise and tried to damage a kiosk. As videos of the YouTube influencers continue to go viral, he was recently arrested for his actions and criminally charged. The 23-year-old claims he was only documenting the looting when he was caught on video at the Fashion Square Mall in Scottsdale on Saturday. But Scottsdale police said Thursday he was being charged following, quote, hundreds of tips and videos from the community that showed he was a participant in the riot. Our investigation has revealed that Paul was present after the protest was declared an unlawful assembly and the rioters were ordered to leave the area by the police, the department said, calling him a, quote, social media influencer. Quote, Paul unlawfully entered and remained inside of the mall when it was closed, continued the police department. He was charged with criminal trespass and unlawful assembly, both misdemeanors. Paul was issued a summons to appear in court in a month. Quote, give me my charges and let's put the focus back on George Floyd and Black Lives Matter, the YouTuber tweeted shortly after the charges were announced. Clearly, Jake was in the wrong and caught trying to make himself the center of attention and exploit the real matter at hand. Embarrassing. No one was surprised to see the YouTube star deny the allegations of looting and rioting. He would only make matters worse for himself. Jake Paul truly messed up in one of the most crucial moments of American history. Quote, to be absolutely clear, neither I nor anyone in our group was engaged in any looting or vandalism, he said in a statement on Twitter, adding that he and his crew were strictly documenting, not engaging. However, many responded with confusion as one Twitter user highlighted the fact that Paul seemed to be, quote, hyping up the looters by, quote, getting all excited in the video. Quote, he literally tried to break a window of a car inside the mall and it's on video. He's just straight lying, one user wrote. Clearly, Jake was found red-handed in the wrong and still denied it. According to Ishan Gol, who was with Paul on Saturday night, Jake Paul got wind of the events at the mall, and the group decided to walk from the nearby restaurant where they were having dinner to check it out. Quote, there were police helicopters circling with lights and sirens, and Jake wanted to figure out what was going on inside the mall, Mr. Gol, an interpreter, said in an interview on Thursday. Quote, he was trying to figure out why people were there and what they were doing. Shortly after he arrived on the scene, the YouTuber began interviewing people and was getting recognized by some groups. He continued to film as the police moved in. As he approached a group of officers, they began using what Jake described as tear gas. Jake, as the video goes on, it only begins to look worse and worse in defense of Jake Paul. Quote, I walked right up to there, he said in a video posted to Instagram, gesturing at a line of police officers who he said tear gassed him. Look at them, pointing guns at me right now, he continued in his statement on Twitter. Jake also claimed that he had spent the earlier part of his day peacefully protesting, quote unquote, one of the most horrific injustices our country has ever seen, and that his goal was to, quote, bring more attention to the anger felt in every neighborhood we traveled through, end quote. After seeing the looting video, Logan Paul publicly scolded his brother. Quote, to be honest, this one is so hard for me because I love the kid, he told his millions of followers. Quote, I love him, but I don't always like him. He's my brother, he's my family, he's my blood, end quote. Logan Paul's statement came as protests took part in numerous United States cities following the death of George Floyd. Things began to ramp up as of recently following Jake's more recent video explaining the entire situation. Jake Paul is being called out as a fraud for possibly taking credit for someone else's fundraiser. The donation drive, which was started by a YouTuber, That Midget Asian, has amassed over $41,000 for the NAACP. Jake cannot seem to get away from the controversy. Unfortunately, he's continuing to give his name a bad reputation in the influencer space. Paul has given an explanation for what happened, saying he was part of the protest and wanting to document the ways in which police were mistreating those present. This section of the video from inside the mall is allegedly just him documenting what happened that day, as opposed to him and his friends capitalizing on the chaos of the situation. After posting his video explanation, Paul was charged with crimes related to the incident. That video, however, seems to be landing him in more hot water. It made use of YouTube's fundraiser option so viewers could donate to a fundraiser titled Black Lives Matter, the proceeds of which would go to the NAACP. Jake did not start that fundraiser, which is fine because YouTube allows creators to tag an existing fundraiser to generate awareness with their own videos. The problem is Jake has publicly taken credit for the fundraiser's success, for which he is not responsible and has not corrected any of his fans who were led to believe he was. This particular Twitter response, which has now been deleted, indicates Paul is aware his fans think he started the fundraiser. He is responding to a tweet which reads, Jake Paul has raised $32,000 in 20 minutes. I'm so proud of you, end quote. His controversial response, however, reads, quote, with y'all's help. Clearly, he is taking responsibility for the fundraiser started by That Midget Asian. That Midget Asian, however, did not allow this to slide and has since released a statement which says, quote, by not giving credit for the fundraiser, you're basically combining the totals from each video, so now Jake's audience will believe he raised $32,000 within 20 minutes and take the credit for, quote, doing something good when it was my audience who raised that amount prior to his video release, end quote. He is obviously upset and outraged, as he should be. Jake Paul has yet again been caught taking advantage of vulnerable people and vulnerable situations. Jake has leveraged major news events for content in the past and has engaged in political issues. In 2017, he drove to Texas in a pickup truck and claimed that he would rescue residents who had been trapped by Hurricane Harvey floodwaters. In 2018, he also faced backlash for using a racial slur in a freestyle rap. This does not include the multiple other things he has been called out for in the past. The looting at the Scottsdale Fashion Square Mall was not affiliated with the Black Lives Matter movement, nor any of the groups peacefully demonstrating in Scottsdale and Phoenix against police brutality. As a matter of fact, looting anywhere is not affiliated with any peaceful protest supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. Logan Paul, Jake Paul's brother and a fellow YouTube star, posted a passionate speech on anti-racism to his YouTube channel and podcast on Tuesday, calling on white people and those in power to acknowledge and weaponize their privilege. Make your voice heard, attend a protest, speak up against injustice, he said. If you're white, if you look like me, use your privilege, the YouTuber continued. He called those who do not think white privilege exists, quote, blind, saying, you are delusional and you are part of the problem. It's obvious that the two handled the situation at hand very differently. Jake made the whole narrative about views, likes, comments, and overall being the center of attention. In the midst of a civil rights movement and crisis, Jake Paul has used his platform and audience incorrectly, spreading the right message but in the wrong form of delivery. Some even question his real intentions. George Floyd's wrongful murder while in police custody has sparked outrage and a demand for change. Jake Paul did not do much to support that motive at all. The YouTube sensation is now facing criminal charges and is being exposed as fraud on top of that. Thanks for tuning in today at Lime Report, where we cover Jake Paul's career officially over after this. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and check out the link in the description to enter a chance at winning our Apple product giveaway. Do you think that the YouTuber will be seriously punished for his actions during the protests? Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and see you next time on Lime Report.